Hey, what is going on, guys? It's DK back at you with another video here to break down game one of the NBA Finals. We've been waiting a long time for the series to finally start, but it is here, and we have $1 million first. Super excited for this. If this is the first time watching, and my name is DK, and I cover content sports as well as for player prop stuff, prize picks, underdog, parlay, play. Sponsor today's video, that's going to be Underdog. Guys, just tweeted out. Underdog is running now 8 pick entries for the NBA Finals. You're going to X your money. So you use the code DKDFS to get up to $250 bonus cash in your first $150 deposit match bonus. That is much higher than most sites are offering. So do this one out. Also gave the link if you guys want to tail this, a little WNBA and NBA action. Yeah, make sure to sign up and use that code. Would greatly appreciate it. And if you're looking for more content, as always, you can check out my Patreon link in the description. Also, if you're looking for straight betting, you can check out my Dub Club. We have been on fire for WNBA. Went on a 9 straight days of not missing a WNBA prop. Was on a bit of a DFS as well. Got second in the Big NBA. Took down Call of Duty tournament over the weekend. So it's been a really nice week. But I am excited for the NBA to be back. Yeah, let's talk about it. So let's go team by team. And then we can talk a little bit about, kind of roster construction. Okay, so start off with Dallas. So you got Luka at the top at 13.6, Kyrie at the top at 9.2. Obviously, Luka is more optimal. He's probably going to be, let me check ownership. I believe he's still projected to be the highest owned play of the slate. So not a huge surprise there, and projected to be the highest owned captain as well. Now, there is a small chance, not a small chance, but there's a chance that Boston could just run away with this one. I think everyone kind of agree that Boston should win this series. Now, who am I rooting for? I want Dallas, but I think Boston is just a better overall team. But, can you fade Luka Doncic? Yeah. Like, if you think Boston destroys Dallas, or if you think Boston kind of sells out to stop Luka and maybe you go Kyrie. But yeah, I think Luka's the more optimal play of the two. Kyrie, a bit more of a contrarian option. Obviously, a little revenge spot. Revenge game narrative, if you guys are into that. 9.2K reasonable price point. Got Peach Washington at 6.4. I think he's in this probably around 40 or so. Kind of comes down to whether or not he can hit his open three. Because in that series against Oklahoma City, knocking him down. In the series against Minnesota, not as much. So, PJ, let me look where he's. Okay, kind of in the mid-30s, so reasonable ownership there. Yeah, no real strong takes on PJ. However, the two bigs, I do have a take here with Lively and Gafford. I think this series sets up way better for a guy like Maxey. Now, Lively and Gafford, good matchup for them against Minnesota, who ran a traditional big out there at all times. Boston, not as much. Boston likes to spread the court, so I'm a little bit worried about Lively and Gafford. I do not think they play the full 48. Now, they had both of them had a very good series against Minnesota. I am, again, worried about both of them in this series against Boston. They're both getting a good chunk of ownership. Both played very well in the Minnesota series. I think their minutes could be splashed here against Boston. I think that Dallas want to play Maxey Kleber 20-plus minutes. I think if it's a competitive game and Dallas is trailing by a little bit, Kleber should be closing at the 5. So Lively and Gafford, I'm not as high on as the field. Derrick Jones Jr., 4.6 is, that 3-and-D guy. It's going to play 30-plus minutes. Relatively safe value play. Assuming no foul trouble. Again, pretty big part of the rotation. Then we got to talk about the value. So Josh Green is 3K. He's been seeing, high teens minutes. I think he's playable. Let me take a look at the ownership value. Green around 20, Kleber in the mid-teens, already in the low teens. Okay. So, yeah, Green at 3K, Hardy at 2.8, Kleber at 2.4. My personal favorite is Kleber. I know they're kind of easing the back of the Minnesota series, but you saw it. Kleber in important games for Dallas down the stretch in the regular season or even in the playoffs. Like, he was like, what, in this Clipper series, 27 minutes, 28 minutes. I think this is a series against Boston that hits him well. So I think the field is under projecting Kleber. I am way higher in him. Field And then is there a chance that, maybe they dust off Tim Hardaway Jr. in game one? It's not out of the realm of possibility, but unlikely based on what we saw. Okay, so now talking through Boston. Boston's pretty easy to talk about. I think the one question mark here is how many minutes does Kristaps Porzingis, right? He's been out since the Miami series. We haven't got any confirmation on the limit for Porzingis. No, I don't think he's going to play mid to high 30s minutes. I think he'll probably be somewhere in the neighborhood of high 20s to low 30s, but relatively wide range outcomes from him. So I think that's the one question mark there for Boston. You got Tatum at the top at 11.8, Jaylen Brown at 9.4. Jason Tatum and Brown both projected to be similarly owned. I think Tatum obviously has a bit of a higher floor. That's coming with the price point. So, both these guys should play 40-plus minutes. I mean, what? In the Indiana series, 44 minutes last 2 games there for Tatum. Jaylen Brown, 38 and 44 minutes. So Boston's running a very tight rotation. 2 main guys obviously look good at the top. Then Porzingis is, again, that guy that's what are you going to do? Now, look at the ownership for Porzingis. Not projected for a ton. Mid-20s in ownership. So I think he's kind of an interesting tournament play. Is there a chance that Porzingis comes out and plays 33 minutes? It's definitely possible. So I think Porzingis viable there for tournaments. 2 guards, Derek White, Drew Holiday, 7.4K for White, 6.8K for Drew. Both had a good series last series. Drew especially really turned it on. He was a little bit quiet in the Miami series, but then played well in the Indiana series. Had a couple of really big games. I think looking at the price point straight up, I would slightly prefer White to Drew, but not by a wide margin. Ownership is relatively similar. Well, I'm both hovering around 50%. So 2 guards look pretty good there in the mid-range. Al Horford. So here's the thing with Horford. I think if you think that Porzingis sees pretty limited minutes, then you can add some interest in Horford. If not, I think it is a little bit tougher to get to him. Ownership is not there. He's projected for a little over 10%. Right now, more of a contrarian play. But if you think that Porzingis really gets limited, then you can definitely take a shot on Horford. Peyton Pritchard's 3.4. Minutes are kind of ticking down there at the end of the Pacers series. But we know Pritchard's not a bad point per minute player. On average, you're probably going to see mid-teens minutes for him. And he could play a little bit more if Boston destroys Dallas. Pritchard could get extended, right? So 3.4K ownership is not insane on Pritchard, a little over 20%. I think he's a reasonable value play. And he is someone that if you're kind of building that Boston build that I would like to include, because Boston blows the door off Dallas, you're going to see extended minutes for Pritchard playing with the scrubs. Get Pritchard garbage time with scrubs, he's most likely going to smash. So he's someone kind of, if I was making a ton of lineups, I would kind of create that rule that going Boston heavy, that I want to include Pritchard in that build. Then you get Sam Hauser at 2.2. I mean, playable. If he knocks down a couple threes, he can pay off that salary, projecting for a little over 20%. That's really it. I don't think we see anyone else. So starting 5 plus Pritchard, Hauser, and Horford. I think that's going to be the 8-man rotation. Would you see a few minutes of Tillman or Cornette if they really limit? I guess maybe, but that's not something I'm really playing for. That's the general breakdown. Again, in a competitive game, I still think I like going a bit heavier on the Boston side than the Dallas side. That's just the way the price points. Or if you are playing for that Boston kind of just destroying Dallas narrative, we talked about Pritchard. On the opposite side, Hardy would be a guy that would get extended in a situation like that. So, if you think Boston's 30, the Jaden Hardy would close in a blowout. He's someone that will play a little bit in a competitive game and would close in a blowout. So he's kind of a Peyton Pritchard-esque type play. Won't play as much in a competitive game as Pritchard, but would play in a blowout. So if you are kind of playing for that narrative, you could have some interest there in a low own. Okay, guys, so that's going to wrap it up for the video. As always, if you do enjoy it, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And we'll see you all in the next.